Namaskar. Good evening. Welcome to this broadcast on Facebook Live. Today I'm going to discuss about the Bengal violence that took place 2 days ago. Uh, this has not yet made national news in a sense. It's considered to be an incident that took place in a faraway district in Bengal itself, more than 200 kilometers from the state capital, Kolkata. But it's really a very, very incident, a major incident of mindless killing and violence. And it is, in fact, news of the nation, national news, because of the sad and avoidable loss of lives that have taken place. So I'm going to speak in English today, addressing a larger national audience and bring to your notice what is happening in Bengal, the news so far about Bengal violence. The incident took place in a village called Bagtui in Rampur Hat block of Birbhum district of West Bengal. In the evening at around 4 o'clock, the village Upapradhan, the vice pradhan, was having tea at a tea stall when some young people riding a motorcycle came, threw bombs at him, reportedly also fired at him, and he died. He was taken to hospital, but he was declared brought dead. So a Trinamool elected local functionary of the village was killed. Within an hour of that incident, 5 houses in that village were burnt, were set on fire, and 8 people died in that fire. They were inside the house, they were burnt to death. 6 of them were women, adult women, and there were 2 children. So 6 women and 2 children were burnt to death. The police arrived, the police took charge of the situation. But that evening when the incident took place, no effort was made to go into the burnt houses, to see what was the situation, to see if any rescue could take place. The next morning, the fire brigade came, the police came, and these burnt bodies were recovered. So a Trinamool leader is killed, houses are burnt, 8 people are burnt to death. Now, immediately thereafter, the government announced setting up of a special investigation team led by a very senior officer, the Additional Director General of Police, CID, Sri Gyanwant Singh, IPS. There are 2 more officers, it's a 3-member team. Within minutes of the announcement of the SIT, the Director General of Police, West Bengal, Manoj Malviya ji, commented to the media that perhaps these 2 incidents are not connected, the killing of the Trinamool leader and the burning down of the houses. Now, this is the first peculiar thing. So, a very grisly massacre has taken place. A special investigation team is formed to investigate this incident. And their boss, the 3 police officers in that SIT, their boss, the Director General of Police, comments that the 2 incidents are perhaps not connected. Isn't that influencing the course of the investigation? Isn't that pre-deciding and prejudging the investigation? This is something that needs to be noted and understood. Why is the police or the chief of police, West Bengal, trying to disconnect the two incidents? Now, let's look at the people who died. Bhadu Sheikh, the Trinamool leader who was killed, which, according to me, sparked off the whole incident, is a local leader. He was a police driver even 10 years ago. He then became a police process server. And now he is a successful politician. I'm sorry I have to use the word successful, but what I'm trying to say is that he climbed the ladder of political success very quickly. Those who were killed are also from the minority community, Sheikh family, people who belong to the Sunni Muslim Sheikh sect. Till now, 20 people have been arrested, including the brother of Bhadu Sheikh. They are also from the same community. So, one thing is very clear, and this I want to make absolutely clear, loud and clear, that the victims of both the bomb charge, the fire, as well as those who are suspected to have committed these crimes are essentially from the same community, probably from the same locality. So this is not communal. This is not one community waging war against the other, killing people in the other community. As is natural, there is a huge hue and cry in social and political circles in West Bengal, and I'm sure in the rest of the country too. This kind of a massacre is unprecedented. This is, mass killing. We are the impression that we have outlived those ages when Bihar and Uttar Pradesh saw these mass killings. But in Bengal, it's back. In fact, such an incident took place during the previous regime's time in power, when the CPIM was in power in a place called Choto Angaria. A similar incident reportedly took place and people were burned to death. So, is this incident political? Now, my understanding of the situation and whatever I could read and find out is that it was not political because the killers and the killed were on the same side of politics. They were affiliated or had affinity towards the same party, Trinamool Congress. Till now, the major political parties in West Bengal, the CPIM or its left front constituents, and the BJP, have not been alleging, have not been able to allege that their supporters have been killed in this incident. So we can rule out inter-community issues, we can rule out political rivalry between two rival political parties in this incident. So, what exactly happened? People from the same community, living in the same village, killed and were killed, and they belong to the same political party or support the same political party. So, why did this incident take place? For this, to understand this, we have to understand the economy of Rampurhat. Rampurhat is a block, it's a large area, but it is famous for its stone chips, which means there is stone quarrying, stone crushing, and Rampurhat is a major source of supply of stone chips to the state and perhaps to the neighboring states also. It is also a spot of sand quarrying, riverbed sand quarrying. So, natural resource exploitation is the mainstay of the economy there. And mafia, to control this exploitation, to profit out of exploiting these natural resources, has been in Rampurhat for ages. There is, therefore, in my opinion, a battle to control this resource within people of the ruling party, and that led to this incident. The first victim, Bhadu Sheikh, was powerful, was probably a beneficiary of the stone and sand quarrying. As a political leader, most in West Bengal do have direct connection, direct profit from these operations. And his rivals, perhaps those who wanted to muscle him out, could be behind this killing. That's my sense of it. What is the reaction of the state government? As I told you initially, they were quick to the draw, appointed a special investigator team, which was somewhat diluted by the unwarranted comment of the Director General of Police. And when political parties like the BJP and the CPIM uh, raised a hue and cry about this massacre, the state government, the ruling party, Trinamool Congress, came with a very strange story. They said that this incident has been orchestrated to show the ruling party in poor light, to show the state in poor light, and there is a conspiracy behind these murders, killings, mass murders. I have given some thought to this proposition of the state government. The fact of the matter is, in the area where these killings took place, virtually the only political party in control and power is the Trinamool Congress. The BJP and the CPM are almost non existent there. For these political parties to hatch a conspiracy to do this level of violence and murder, to show the Trinamool party to be in bad light and its government to be in bad light, is a very far-fetched story, absolutely unbelievable. So what the Trinamool Congress is telling about conspiracy is not believable. What has actually happened, perhaps, is that factions within the Trinamool Congress were battling each other for control of territory, which led to this ghastly event, the death of the Trinamool Upapradhan and the burning of unto death of 8 people, 6 women and 2 children. So yes, there is a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy by one group of Trinamool against another group of Trinamool, and they have caused this incident. And indeed, it has shown West Bengal in very poor light across the country, and Trinamool Congress has to take responsibility for this incident. Its party workers have caused this incident. Unfortunately, its party workers have also been victims of this incident. The BJP has sent a team of its members of the Legislative Assembly, MLAs, to visit the spot. Reports indicate that the state government, the police, is barricading the village to prevent the opposition representatives from reaching and talking to the people. Now, this is a very strange and sad method of operation throughout the country. Whenever an incident of this nature takes place, the government, the ruling party, prevents, physically and forcibly prevents the opposition from reaching that place and talking to people. I myself am a victim of this. When the BJP government in Madhya Pradesh shot dead five farmers and beat to death the sixth one in Mandsaur, I was part of a team which consisted of Medha Patkarji, Yogendra Yadavji, Swami Agnivesh, who's no more with us. All of us went there, and the Shivlal Chauhan government, BJP government of Madhya Pradesh, prevented us from reaching Mandsaur. We took a train and a detour through Neemuch, and we were detained at the station, taken to the police station, and then driven out of Madhya Pradesh into Rajasthan. So, the state government, when it fails to maintain and manage law and order, forces the law enforcement agencies to stop and prevent opposition politicians from reaching the spot of the incident. How will democracy survive in India if opposition is not allowed to play its role? So, what BJP did to everyone else in Madhya Pradesh, Trinamool Congress is doing to BJP in West Bengal, which is why we at Swaraj India keep saying one is not an alternative to the other. They are both sides of the same coin in their lack of faith in democracy, in their undemocratic authoritarian practices, in their worldview that once you are in power, you are in absolute power, and the constitution does not matter. The scheme of things under the laws of India do not matter. You, as the government and the party in power, can do whatever you want. Swaraj India denounces the effort of the Trinamool Congress government of West Bengal in trying to stop opposition political leaders from reaching the incident spot. Next Tuesday, I will be part of a delegation that will go to Bagtui, and I want to see how the police and the government stops us from reaching, speaking, understanding, and offering solutions to the problem. The Calcutta High Court today took suo motu cognizance of what is now being called the Bagtui killings. The Chief Justice, at the time of deciding to hear the petition, hear this event, mentioned that yes, it's a very ghastly crime and the court shall hear it soon. Just before this show started, I read a news flash that the court has asked the state government to submit a status report within 24 hours and has passed several other directions, mostly relating to preservation of evidence, has asked for CCTV cameras to be installed in the presence of the district magistrates and district judge, I beg your pardon, so that there is no tampering with evidence. So that is an indictment by the Calcutta High Court of the state government and the state police. The court believes that there is a chance and possibility of tampering with evidence, and the court has given orders to prevent such tampering. This takes me back to the initial point where I said you announce a investigating team, and then you have their boss saying that this is probably what happened. So you scuttle the investigation, you scuttle the truth from coming out by making announcements which are difficult for your subordinates to disobey or to think outside. In the end, on behalf of Swaraj India, we have issued a press release in West Bengal asking for three things. One, immediate identification of the perpetrators of this crime and giving them the most stringent, strictest punishment for this heinous crime. Two, adequate compensation to the families of all the deceased. Number three, highest and best medical treatment to those who have been injured and adequate compensation for them too. Swaraj India will be in a fact finding team. Swaraj India will visit Bagtui and we will compel the state government to act in accordance with law to ensure that justice is done. And what is most important, and I would say the main purpose of this broadcast, is to ask this question: when will political violence come to an end in West Bengal? What can we, all of us, do to ensure that political violence stops in West Bengal? As a Bengali, as a part time resident of West Bengal, as a political worker in West Bengal, I can tell you that we live in a land which is full of fear, which is full of violence, which is full of murder, which is full of intimidation. No democratic atmosphere exists in West Bengal. Whatever the chief minister and the Trinamool party utter out loudly in Delhi, inside parliament, and before media are just eyewash. It's a political party that does not believe in democracy. On 20th February, I was addressing a peaceful gathering of Adivasis in a place called Devcha Pachabi. They were protesting against the plan of the state government to open a coal mine there. I went as a speaker. I addressed the gathering and I came back to Calcutta. Two FIRs have been lodged against me. One is under section 307 of the IPC, which is attempt to murder. So if you are part of a protest in West Bengal, the state government and its police will file false cases against you and cases with serious charges like attempt to murder. This is to put the fear of God in you. This is to prevent you from protesting. This is to prevent you from exercising your democratic rights as a citizen of India. My colleague Prashanjit Bose and 7 others were arrested at 3 a.m. and languished in jail for 10 days. This is the state and situation of democracy in Bengal. Very alarming indeed. So we will be on this. We will ensure justice is done to the victims. We will fight till democracy is restored in Bengal. Until then, I shall join you every now and then to give you updates about what is happening in Bengal and particularly about the Bagtui killings. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaskar.